Hello, Richard. Welcome to the Go Back studio. Let me first introduce our speaker, Richard Harris. Rich is a Harvard MBA, a responsible officer of Hong Kong SFC, chief executive and founder of Port Shelter Investment Management. Rich has lived in Hong Kong for a long time. He pioneered Asian investment management at senior levels with many foreign financial firms, such as Chase and Citigroup. Rich is also our senior advisor. He works closely with our investment committee to give investment advice and as allocations to our clients. Instead of waiting for him, being interviewed on Bloomberg, CNBC, RTHK, and his written open column on South China Morning Post publicly, we would rather generate our own investment talks more timely to capture the market pulses. Hello, Richard. The US election is coming in a couple of days. What is your prediction of the result? Who will win, Trump or Biden?
Well, it looks, if you're going to be rational about it, you're probably going to say that Biden's going to win. There's a chance he's going to win, and there's a chance he's going to win by a landslide. But we all know that the US electoral system has a few quirks in it. Just a few states make all the difference. The electoral college is an important factor. So, Trump always has a chance, and this is the same in all electoral systems like the US, that he could have a chance. But at the moment, I think the odds are that we are going to have a Biden win, and it does look as if the win might be broad enough for there not to be a lot of discussion about it. Of course, what's happened is Donald Trump has been quite smart. He's raised this up as a problem, that mail-in votes could be a problem. There's been no evidence that there have ever been a problem. And if there is a problem, then you would generally assume the errors to be the same on both sides. But I think because he is quite concerned now about losing, he's raised it up as an issue. And of course, it's a narrative that's just exploded in the market because it's a narrative that basically says, look, the US electoral system, they don't really know how to count the votes. I think that's untrue. I think that the electoral system is free and fair. The Supreme Court has pretty well declared that to be the case today. But, we have something like 60 to 70 million people voted already. That's probably going to be pretty well half or more of the people who actually will actually vote. So you're looking at pretty well 70% of those votes already are being cast. That's a big number.
I also follow some of these election forecasts, but I mainly read from The Economist. Their polls show that Biden has led all the way except for a few swing states. Do you think these swing states are crucial and that will affect the final result?
Well, I've been looking at a few of the swing states. Two ways of looking at it. One is the polls, which are obviously going to be quite close because they are states that might swing either way.
Right.
The other is a company that basically looks at newspaper reports and tries to work out from the newspaper report, is there a good mood about Biden? Is there a bad mood about Biden? Whatever. And that sentiment tends to indicate that there's a lot more in favor of Biden. And if you're in that sort of position, it's not that easy to pull yourself back. Trump did last time, but he pretty well drew level by this time and maybe was a little bit ahead. I think it's just too big a hill to climb.
Okay, Richard, we heard you. The deteriorated US-China tensions are not easy to reverse. The situation has really created a lot of worries for the China corporations. We know that the last 15 to 20 years, many China enterprises went to US for listing. There are still about 150 of them listed on the NASDAQ and New York Stock Exchange. I learned that a long queue has been queuing up to return to Hong Kong or China for listing. Take for instance, Alibaba has come back to Hong Kong for dual listing in 2018. Just this past week, On Financial Group, actually it's the 33% subsidiary of Alibaba, just finished their subscriptions for public offering. It creates so much interest, not just from China mainland, but all over the world. It's very much oversubscribed. It will be the biggest IPO in 2020. So Richard, how do you see this trend of China company listing just in Hong Kong or returning to Hong Kong, China? And how do you see the performance of these mega stocks?
Yes, I mean, I think that there are two themes there. One is the ADRs or the Chinese companies delisting or moving or having a secondary listing in Hong Kong, moving out of the US. I think that's likely, and I think it's maybe quite a good move because, after all, these are fundamentally Chinese companies, so there's no reason why they shouldn't have a listing presence in Hong Kong and in China. The old days when you went to New York to pick up the big money, you know, those days are pretty well over because there's big money coming out of Hong Kong too. And financial, of course, is very exciting because it's a particular company. It kind of sits in the spider's web, the middle of the web of the economy, with its payment systems, which of course are now acting as a major payment system for 1.3 billion people. You know, China is obviously very digitally aware and very much online. So it's a critically important company in terms of the payment system. It has many ancillary businesses around that are very important, you know, wealth management, insurance, these kind of things.
Right. So Richard, we seem to have a very exciting month of November to begin with. All the eyes watching on the election day and the first trade day of Ant Financial falling on 3rd and 5th of November. That will create a lot of expectation in the markets. I heard that you have just been on Bloomberg talking about the market. Would you like to recap your opinions to our audiences here, please?
Yes, it was two real discussions, I think, themes in the moment. Of course, the US election is one. But I think what you generally find with elections is at the end of the day, they're less important than the economies. So what we're going to see, the markets are uncertain at the moment. They're cautious. Just before the election, they often sell off because there's uncertainty. Just after the election, whatever result there'll be, we'll probably see markets feel more certain, and I think they'll probably firm up after the election. There's probably not going to be a lot of policy change between Trump and Biden, so I think that we're likely to see a reduction in uncertainty and markets move ahead. We're certainly going to see stimulus in the US economy, whether it's 1.8 million from the Republicans, whether it's 2.2 million from the Democrats. Now, we're also going to see stimulus in Europe because the governments can't close the economies down without actually putting some stimulus there. So we could see 3, 4, maybe even $5 trillion worth of stimulus coming through towards the end of the year, early next year. That's going to be a very big anchor for equity markets.
Hello, everybody. We have heard our senior advisor, Richard Harris, on the US election and his views on this US return stocks trend. I would take a few more minutes to give a presentation with some infographics on Financial Group. Thank you.